Hey guys, tonight we're diving into a world where your very skin tells your story, where identity isn't just felt, but seen, carved into the flesh with precision and profound meaning. We're heading to the breathtaking islands of Aotearoa, New Zealand, to stand alongside the mighty Maori and understand why their warriors, men and women alike, chose to tattoo their love stories onto their bodies. Imagine sitting by a roaring fire, the rhythmic tapping of the yuhi, the tattooing chisel echoing softly as intricate patterns begin to bloom on someone's face, each line a whisper from their past, a promise for their future. This isn't just ink. It's a living, breathing testament to who they are, where they come from, and who they love. You probably won't find a more permanent or public declaration of affection anywhere else in history. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You feel the cool, crisp air of Aotearoa, the ancestral lands of the Maori people, as you begin to understand the profound significance of moko, their sacred art of tattooing. This wasn't merely decorative. It was, and remains, a deeply spiritual and cultural practice, a visual language etched into the skin that spoke volumes about the individual, their family, and their place in the world. When you see a Maori warrior, their face adorned with intricate swirling lines, you're not just looking at a tattoo, you're looking at a masterpiece of identity, a living history book. It's like wearing your entire Wikipedia page on your face, but way more badass and a lot harder to edit. Moko is more than just applying pigment. It involves chiseling grooves into the skin, creating a textured surface rather than just flat colour. This traditional method, using yuhi, chisels made from bone, shell or wood, and a mallet, was a painstaking and often incredibly painful process, lasting for hours, days, or even weeks. The ink, derived from natural pigments like soot, was then carefully tapped into the open grooves. This traditional technique sets Maori moko apart from many other forms of tattooing globally. This is a mainstream historical fact. Traditional Maori moko involved chiseling the skin rather than simply pricking it, resulting in distinctive grooved patterns. The finished moko wasn't a random design. Each swirl, each line, each segment held specific meaning, often unique to the individual and their wakapapa, their genealogy. A person's moko was their signature, a mark of their mana, prestige and spiritual authority, and a visual representation of their life's journey. It was a declaration of identity, worn proudly and permanently. You wouldn't find two moko patterns exactly alike, just as you wouldn't find two life stories that were identical. It's the ultimate personalised accessory, guaranteed to be one of a kind. A quirky tidbit about moko is the term mokomokai, which refers to the preserved tattooed heads of Maori ancestors. These were highly prized and often exchanged in times of peace or war, serving as tangible links to lineage and power, and unfortunately became a tragic commodity during early European contact. Historians still argue whether the initial European demand for mokomokai was driven purely by curiosity, or if it quickly fueled intertribal warfare for the purpose of acquiring these prized possessions. Regardless, the very existence of mokomokai underscores the profound and deeply personal significance of moko as a marker of identity that persisted even beyond life itself. As you gaze at these intricate designs, you begin to understand that moko was a language spoken on the skin, a permanent declaration of belonging and self. It was the first layer of identity you encountered when meeting a Maori person, telling you instantly of their status, their achievements, and their place in the complex tapestry of Maori society. And as we'll soon discover, it was also where the most intimate stories, including those of love, found their eternal resting place. From the intricate artistry of moko, you now delve into its very essence, its connection to wakapapa, the fundamental concept of ancestral echoes in Maori culture. Imagine a vast, interconnected web stretching back through countless generations, linking every individual not just to their parents, but to their grandparents, great-grandparents, and all the way back to the primal gods and the very canoes that brought their ancestors to Aotearoa. Moko was the visible manifestation of this profound genealogical tapestry, etched onto the living body. It's like wearing your family tree, but instead of clumsy lines and dates, it's a swirling, powerful narrative. Wakapapa is far more than just a list of names. It's a foundational principle that defines identity, status, rights and responsibilities within Maori society. It encompasses not only human lineage but also connections to the land, Wenua, to rivers, awa, mountains, maunga, and even to the stars, Wetu. Knowing your Wakapapa meant knowing who you were, where you belonged, and what duties you inherited. It provided a sense of continuity, a deep understanding of one's place within the vast cosmic order. This is a mainstream historical fact. Wakapapa is a cornerstone of Maori identity, defining an individual's relationships to people, land, and the spiritual world. Every line, every curve, every spiral in a moko design could hold information about the wearer's Wakapapa. Specific patterns might represent a particular iwi, tribe, hapu, sub-tribe, or wanao, family. Certain motifs could denote a specific ancestor, a significant event in their lineage, or a traditional story passed down through generations. When a moko artist, or tohunga tamoko, worked on a face, they weren't just creating art. They were translating a person's entire genealogical history into a permanent visual record. It's like having an incredibly intricate QR code on your skin that, when scanned by someone who understood the symbols, would tell them your entire family history. No need for awkward family reunions, just a quick glance. The permanence of moko underscored the eternal nature of Wakapapa. Unlike spoken words or written records, moko was carried with the individual throughout their life and, as believed, into the afterlife. It was a testament to the enduring presence of ancestors and a constant reminder of one's obligations to past, present, and future generations. The act of receiving moko was therefore a profound ritual, connecting the individual physically and spiritually to their ancestral heritage. A quirky tidbit related to Wakapapa and moko is the tradition of korero moko, or speaking the moko. This was the practice where a Maori individual would literally recite their Wakapapa and life achievements, while tracing the corresponding patterns on their moko, demonstrating their deep connection to the designs. Historians still argue whether the specific symbolic meanings of all moko patterns were universally understood across different iwi or if some were more localized and personal. Regardless, the profound link between moko and Wakapapa is undeniable. As you contemplate the weight of these ancestral echoes, you understand that a Maori warrior's moko was not merely a personal adornment. It was a sacred declaration of belonging, a visible affirmation of their place within the vast, intricate web of their people's history. It was a constant, tangible link to the wisdom and power of those who came before them, and a powerful statement of continuity for those who would come after. Building on the intricate connection between moko and Wakapapa, you now encounter another vital concept etched into the very fabric of Maori identity. Mana's mark, the profound idea of moko as power incarnate. Imagine a warrior standing before you, their moko-adorned face a swirling testament to their achievements, their lineage, and their innate spiritual authority. This isn't just decoration. It's a living force, radiating prestige and influence. It's like their skin is a personal power-up meter, constantly visible and constantly topped up. Mana is a complex and multifaceted concept in Maori culture, deeply woven into their worldview. It can be understood as spiritual authority, prestige, influence, integrity, and power. It's a fundamental aspect of a person's being, inherited from ancestors, accumulated through achievements, and reflected in their actions and status. A person with great mana commanded respect, influence, and the ability to achieve great feats. This is a mainstream historical fact. Mana is a central concept in Maori and other Polynesian cultures, denoting a person's spiritual authority, prestige, and influence. Moko was a tangible, visible expression of this mana. The more intricate, extensive, and beautifully executed a person's moko, the more mana they were perceived to possess. It wasn't merely a status symbol, it was believed to literally contain and radiate mana. When a tohunga tamoko, moko artist, painstakingly carved the designs onto the skin, they were not just adding ink. They were imbuing the individual with greater spiritual power and prestige, a process that was often accompanied by sacred chants and rituals. You can almost feel the weight of centuries of spiritual energy, meticulously channeled into every line and curve. It's like every tattoo session came with its own personal spiritual upgrade package. For a warrior, the facial moko, known as moko pohoro for men, was particularly significant as a mark of mana. It conveyed their tribal affiliations, their lineage as we discussed, but also their prowess in battle, their leadership qualities, and their personal achievements. A fully tattooed face was a fearsome sight to enemies, and a proud declaration to allies. It wasn't just intimidating, it was believed to protect the wearer and channel their ancestral power. Imagine facing a warrior whose very face seemed to pulse with the accumulated might of generations. The pain endured during the Moko process itself was also a testament to mana. To withstand such agony with stoicism demonstrated inner strength, resilience, and a profound commitment to one's culture and identity. This act of enduring pain further enhanced the individual's mana, proving their worthiness to carry such a sacred mark. It's not just about getting a tattoo, it's about passing a severe test of endurance that literally elevates your standing. A quirky tidbit that reflects the deep connection between Moko and mana is the practice of tapu, a sacred state or restriction. During the Moko process, both the Tohungata Moko and the recipient were considered highly tapu, meaning they were sacred and subject to strict rules to prevent contamination or harm. This heightened sacredness further underscored the spiritual power being invoked. Historians still argue whether the primary function of Moko was to display existing mana, or if the act of receiving Moko itself was considered to actively increase an individual's mana. Regardless, it's clear that Moko was far more than skin deep. It was power incarnate. As you consider the profound significance of mana and its physical manifestation in Moko, you begin to appreciate how deeply integrated this art form was into every aspect of Maori life, from personal identity to spiritual authority, setting the stage for how even their most intimate stories of love would find a place on this sacred canvas. With the understanding of Moko as a profound declaration of mana, you now appreciate how it served as an identity's canvas, meticulously telling personal narratives on the very skin of the wearer. Imagine a body not just as a vessel, but as a living scroll, etched with the triumphs, challenges, alliances, and even the heartbreaks of an individual's journey through life. It's like their skin was a very exclusive, very permanent social media feed, broadcasting their story to anyone who understood the language. Every Moko was unique, a bespoke artwork crafted specifically for the individual. While certain tribal or lineage patterns might be shared, the specific arrangement, density, and combination of designs were tailored to reflect the wearer's personal history. This meant that as a person aged, acquired new achievements, suffered significant losses, or formed new bonds, their Moko could be added to, evolving with their life story. It wasn't a static piece, it was a dynamic, growing autobiography. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko designs were highly individualized, reflecting the wearer's unique wakapapa, achievements, and life events. Consider the elements that might be woven into a personal narrative on the skin. A warrior's Moko might depict the number of battles fought, the foes vanquished, or specific acts of bravery. A leader's Moko could show the alliances they forged, the lands they protected, or the wisdom they imparted. For women, their Moko Kawai, Chin Moko, and other body Moko often conveyed their status, their family's prestige, their skills in weaving or other traditional arts, and their readiness for marriage and motherhood. Each line, each spiral was a chapter, a verse, or a powerful symbol within their unique story. You wouldn't need a resume. Your face told everyone exactly what you'd accomplished. The artistry of the Tohungata Moko was crucial in this storytelling. They were not simply tattoo artists. They were skilled interpreters of wakapapa and life events, translating complex personal histories into a precise visual language. The process involved deep consultation, ensuring that the Moko accurately and powerfully represented the individual's narrative. It was a collaboration between the person seeking the Moko and the artist, resulting in a deeply personal and culturally significant creation. A quirky tidbit is that errors in Moko application were considered highly unfortunate, as they could permanently misrepresent a person's identity or lineage. This underscores the immense precision and sacredness attributed to the art form. Historians still argue whether certain Moko patterns were universally recognized across all iwiwi as representing specific achievements, or if some interpretations varied regionally, making the reading of a Moko a nuanced process. Regardless, Moko served as an unparalleled canvas for the personal narrative, making the individual's life story visible for all to see and understand. As you contemplate the skin as a canvas for identity, you realise the profound connection between the external manifestation of Moko and the internal essence of the individual. It was a permanent declaration of who they were, a visible testament to their journey, and crucially, as we'll explore, a place where even the most intimate details, like love stories, could be eternally etched. From the living autobiography etched onto the skin, you now turn your attention to the very heart of the Moko process. The tools of art and the uhi's precision. Imagine the Tohunga Tomoko kneeling before you, not with a modern tattoo gun, but with a set of carefully crafted chisels, each one a testament to ancestral knowledge and meticulous artistry. It's a humbling sight, witnessing a tradition that connects generations through the very instruments of its creation. It's like watching a master sculptor work, but instead of marble, their medium is the human form. The traditional tools used for Moko were far removed from the buzzing electric machines of today. The primary instrument was the uhi, a chisel typically made from bone, such as albatross or albatross wing bone, renowned for its strength and sharpness, shell, or occasionally wood. These chisels varied in size and shape, each designed for a specific purpose. Some were broad and flat, used for carving the deeper grooves that characterized traditional Moko, creating that distinctive raised furrowed texture. Others were fine and sharp, meant for intricate detailing and delicate lines. This is a mainstream historical fact. Traditional Maori Moko was applied using uhi, chisels, made from bone, shell, or wood, tapped with a mallet to create grooves in the skin. Accompanying the uhi was the tie or tapu, a small mallet used to tap the chisel, driving it into the skin. This rhythmic tapping was the soundtrack to the Moko process, a steady beat that could last for hours, sometimes days, depending on the complexity and extent of the design. The artist would hold the chisel in one hand, positioning it precisely, while using the mallet in the other to strike the end of the chisel, ensuring the pigment was driven deep into the dermis. You can almost hear the soft, insistent tap, 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 a sound both ancient and deeply meditative. It's a bit like ASMR, but with significantly more commitment and a much longer-lasting result. The pigments themselves were natural, derived from the earth and the forest. Dark blue-black ink, characteristic of facial Moko, was often made from the soot of burnt kauri gum, combined with animal fat or plant extracts. Lighter pigments, sometimes used for body Moko, could come from burnt wood or insects. These inks were carefully prepared by the Tohunga Tomoko, their composition a guarded secret, ensuring the rich, enduring colour that defined Moko. The precision of the Tohunga Tomoko was legendary. They possessed an encyclopedic knowledge of Wakapapa, tribal motifs and individual histories, all of which had to be flawlessly translated onto the complex contours of the human face and body. Every line had to be perfect, every curve deliberate, as mistakes were permanent and could carry significant social or spiritual implications. The artistry was not just in the execution, but in the conceptualization, designing a Moko that was both aesthetically powerful and profoundly meaningful to the individual. A quirky tidbit is that the Tohunga Tomoko were considered highly skilled and revered individuals, often holding a status equivalent to chiefs or high priests. They underwent extensive training, both practical and spiritual, mastering not only the technical aspects of Moko, but also the profound cultural knowledge required to create truly meaningful designs. Historians still argue whether the Tohunga Tomoko derived more of their mana from their artistic skill or from their deep knowledge of ancestral lore and sacred rituals. Regardless, the artistry and precision required to create Moko were immense. As you consider the ancient tools and the masterful hands that wielded them, you appreciate that Moko was a profound act of creation. It was a painstaking, deliberate process, where each tap of the uhi brought a personal narrative to life, etching identity, mana, and eventually even love stories onto the very canvas of the skin. From the precise tools and the skilled hands of the Tohunga Tomoko, you now turn to the profound aspect of pain's passage, understanding how the endurance of this agony became a testament to enduring commitment. Imagine the sensation of a sharp chisel repeatedly tapping into your flesh, creating grooves, not just superficial lines, but actual indentations in your skin. This wasn't merely discomfort, it was intense, prolonged pain, and yet it was embraced as an integral part of the Moko process, deeply imbued with cultural meaning. It's like getting the most extreme tattoo ever, but instead of showing off how tough you are, you're demonstrating your absolute dedication to your heritage. The creation of traditional moko was known to be excruciating. Unlike modern tattooing, which uses needles to puncture the skin rapidly, the yuhi technique involved chiseling. This process broke the skin and caused significant swelling and bleeding. A single moko could take days, weeks, or even months to complete, often in stages, as the body needed time to heal. The pain was not incidental. It was a deliberate and revered part of the ritual. This is a mainstream historical fact. Traditional Maori moko was an exceptionally painful process, performed without modern anaesthetics, and enduring it was a sign of great fortitude. For the person undergoing moko, the ability to withstand this profound pain with stoicism and dignity was a powerful demonstration of their inner strength, courage, and spiritual fortitude. It proved their readiness to bear the responsibilities associated with their wakapapa and mana. To flinch, cry out, or show weakness was considered a sign of poor character, reflecting badly not just on the individual but on their family. So, every grimace suppressed, every tremor controlled, was a testament to their unwavering spirit. You can almost feel the deep breaths, the clenching of jaws, the sheer willpower required to remain still while the chisel worked its way across the bone. It's truly like a medieval endurance test, but instead of running a marathon, you're lying perfectly still while someone carves your face. This journey through pain became a rite of passage, a transformative experience that solidified one's identity and commitment to their community. The moko was not just applied, it was earned. The scars left by the yuhi were not merely aesthetic, they were physical reminders of the intense suffering overcome, making the wearer's commitment to their culture and status visibly manifest for life. It was a permanent mark of resilience, a visual narrative of a personal trial transcended. A quirky tidbit related to the pain is that specialized chants and incantations, karakia, were often performed during the moko process by the Tohunga Tamoko and other tribal elders. These weren't just for spiritual protection, but were also believed to help the recipient endure the pain and ensure a successful outcome. Historians still argue whether the extreme pain of moko served primarily as a test of individual resilience, or if it also acted as a deterrent, limiting moko to only those truly dedicated and worthy of its sacredness. Regardless, the passage through pain was unequivocally a profound act of enduring commitment. As you reflect on the deep cultural meaning embedded in the pain of moko, you begin to grasp that its beauty was forged not just in artistry, but in immense personal sacrifice. This commitment, demonstrated through enduring pain, underpinned every aspect of their identity, including, as we'll soon discover, the deeply personal and lasting declarations of their love stories etched onto their very skin. Having understood the profound commitment signified by the pain of moko, your gaze now narrows to a specific and incredibly powerful aspect of this art form: facial moko, the visage of identity. Imagine standing face to face with a Maori warrior, and their entire life story, their lineage, their achievements, and their very soul are laid bare in the intricate swirls and patterns etched onto their features. It's like their face isn't just a face, it's a living, breathing, three-dimensional historical document. For Maori men, facial moko, known as tomoko, was considered the most sacred and important form of moko. It was often the first moko a man would receive upon reaching maturity, and it was systematically applied to different parts of the face, with each area carrying specific meaning. The forehead, ngaherehe, temples, ngu, eyebrows, tawana, cheeks, pierre, nose, ngungu, and chin, rerepihi, all had their own intricate patterns, collectively forming a comprehensive statement of identity. This is a mainstream historical fact. The facial moko was the most significant form of moko for Maori men, detailing their wakapapa and status. The facial moko served multiple crucial functions. Firstly, as discussed, it was a direct representation of wakapapa, visually mapping out a man's ancestral lines and tribal affiliations. An expert in moko could literally read a face, discerning a man's lineage and connections. Secondly, it was a powerful display of mana, showcasing the wearer's prestige, leadership qualities, and achievements. A fully completed moko was a sign of high status and immense personal fortitude given the pain involved. It's like having an elaborate permanent ID badge, but it also tells everyone how awesome you are and who your great-great-grandparents were. Beyond identity and status, facial moko also played a vital role in battle. The intimidating patterns, often designed to mimic fierce ancestral spirits or mythological beings, were intended to strike fear into the hearts of enemies during the haka, war dance, or in direct combat. It was a psychological weapon, transforming the warrior's face into a mask of aggression and power. Imagine facing an opponent whose face seems to contort and swirl with a life of its own, an almost supernatural intensity. For Maori women, the moko kawe, chin moko, was the most prominent form of facial moko. This elegant and deeply meaningful tattoo adorned their lips and chin, signifying their status, beauty and maturity, as well as their eligibility for marriage and their connection to their ancestors. It was a mark of honour and a symbol of their strength and cultural pride. It's a beautiful feminine counterpart to the male facial moko, equally rich in meaning and personal history. A quirky tidbit is that while men's facial moko covered the entire face, women's facial moko was traditionally confined to the chin and lips, and sometimes the nostrils. This gendered application highlighted different aspects of their societal roles and beauty ideals. Historians still argue whether the intensity and extensiveness of male facial moko was primarily for aesthetic display or if its primary function was rooted in spiritual protection during warfare. Regardless, the face was undeniably the primary canvas for moko, making it the central visage of identity. As you reflect on the power held within the facial moko, you understand that it was not just a personal statement, but a public declaration, a permanent record of who one was in the fullest sense. It was the ultimate expression of identity, worn proudly and powerfully, setting the stage for how even the most intimate aspects of a person's life, including their love stories, would be woven into this sacred tapestry of the skin. From the powerful public declaration of facial moko, your perspective now expands to the rest of the physical form, revealing how body moko became a canvas for life's journey. Imagine the intricate designs flowing over shoulders, chest, back, and limbs, each segment a permanent marker of accomplishments, significant events, and personal growth throughout a Maori individual's existence. It's like a living timeline etched onto your skin, documenting every major plot point of your life story. While facial moko was undeniably paramount, moko also adorned other parts of the body, particularly for men, where it could cover the entire torso, puhoro and pukauwai, buttocks, raprape, and thighs, puhoro. For women, apart from the moko kawe, moko was also applied to their shoulders, arms, back, and sometimes their legs. These body moko often complemented the facial designs, extending the narrative begun on the face and adding further layers of detail to a person's life story. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko was applied to various parts of the body, with specific designs and placements holding distinct cultural significance for men and women. Each section of body moko could denote different aspects of the wearer's life. For a warrior, patterns on the chest might symbolize successful battles or significant acts of bravery, while designs on the thighs could represent their strength and agility. A chief's body moko might reflect the lands they controlled, the alliances they forged, or the wisdom they accumulated through leadership. It's like their entire body was a complex diagram showing off their resume, their achievements, and their personal brand all at once. The application of body moko was often undertaken in stages, mirroring the progression of a person's life. As new milestones were reached, perhaps a young man successfully completing his first hunting expedition, or a woman mastering the art of weaving, new moko could be added, building upon the existing designs. This incremental process meant that a fully adorned body represented a lifetime of experiences, a comprehensive visual autobiography. You can almost feel the weight of these accumulated stories, each adding depth and complexity to the overall design, a narrative continuously being written on the skin. For women, body moko often highlighted their roles within the family and community. Designs on their shoulders and arms might celebrate their skills in raranga, weaving, or wakairo, carving, essential contributions to tribal life. Patterns on their thighs could symbolize their beauty, their readiness for marriage, and their capacity for motherhood, often incorporating fertility motifs or designs associated with female ancestors. These designs spoke to their strength, grace, and vital role in the perpetuation of their wānau. A quirky tidbit that demonstrates the fluidity of moko as a life narrative is the practice of adding blank, or unfinished spaces into a Moko design, allowing for future additions to reflect subsequent achievements or significant life events. This meant that the Moko was truly a living, evolving document, never fully complete until death. Historians still argue whether the primary purpose of body Moko was aesthetic beauty, the demonstration of mana, or the practical function of recording personal and tribal history. Regardless, it is clear that body Moko was far more than mere decoration. It was a profound testament to life's journey, etched permanently onto the living canvas of the skin. As you contemplate the extensive nature of body Moko, you begin to see how every part of the human form was utilized to tell a story, a narrative of individual and collective experience. This intricate connection between life and art sets the stage for understanding how even the most intimate aspects of a person's existence, such as their deepest affections, found their place within this powerful visual language. From the expansive canvas of body Moko recording a person's life journey and achievements, your focus now narrows to the most intimate and powerful narratives etched onto the skin. Love's bloom, and how affection's symbol found its permanent place in Moko. Imagine a line, a spiral, or a subtle motif within a larger design, quietly whispering a story of deep affection, a partnership, or a cherished bond. It's like wearing a secret, permanent valentine, visible only to those who truly understand its meaning. While Moko was primarily associated with wakapapa, mana, and individual achievements, it was also a deeply personal art form, capable of expressing the full spectrum of human emotion, including love. Love, in Maori society, was multifaceted, encompassing not only romantic passion, but also the profound bonds of kinship, friendship, and loyalty within the wānau and hapu. These cherished relationships, especially those of husband and wife, or profound familial ties, were considered central to a person's identity and well-being, and therefore found their way into the visual language of Moko. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko designs could incorporate elements that reflected a person's significant relationships and family connections. The expression of love in Moko wasn't always a literal depiction of two figures holding hands, like some modern tattoos. Instead, it was often conveyed through symbolic motifs, abstract patterns, or specific placements within the overall design that would hold deeply personal meaning for the wearer and their beloved. A particular curve might represent the embrace of a partner, a repeated spiral could symbolize the eternal bond of a marriage, or a specific arrangement of lines could subtly reference a shared experience or a cherished memory between two people. You wouldn't just point to it and say, "That's for Bob." It was far more nuanced and culturally embedded. It's like having a secret handshake with your skin, but the handshake is a beautiful piece of art. Consider the dynamic between a husband and wife. Their Moko might not be identical, but they could contain complementary elements, mirroring patterns, or shared motifs that, to an informed eye, would declare their union and mutual affection. Perhaps a certain design on a man's moko puhoro, facial Moko, subtly echoed a pattern found on his wife's moko kawai, chin Moko, or her arm, creating a visible bond between their individual life narratives. These weren't just matching outfits, they were matching souls, expressed on skin. The permanence of Moko also underscored the enduring nature of these affections. To commit a love story to the skin was to declare its eternal significance, a vow that transcended death and continued into the spiritual realm. It was a testament to the belief that true connections were indelible, just like the Moko itself. The pain endured in the creation of these love symbols further amplified their meaning, signifying the depth of commitment and the sacrifices made for cherished relationships. A quirky tidbit that illustrates this commitment is the concept of wakairo, carving or tattooing, being so fundamental that even the act of shaping a canoe or a meeting house was seen as a form of tattooing the wood, imbuing it with spirit and story. This highlights how deeply the principle of marking with meaning permeated Maori culture, extending to personal relationships. Historians still argue whether the direct representation of romantic love in Moko was common, or if it was more often expressed through indirect symbols of family unity and prosperity. Regardless, the presence of affection's symbol within Moko is undeniable, revealing how the deepest emotional bonds became part of a person's permanent identity. As you contemplate how love bloomed on the skin, you see Moko not just as a record of status and achievement, but as a profound testament to the human heart's capacity for connection. It elevated personal affections to a sacred level, making them an inseparable part of one's mana and waka-papa, etched for eternity. From the general notion of love finding its symbolic place in Moko, you now explore specific instances of partnership patterns, understanding how unions etching became a profound and permanent declaration of marital or romantic bonds. Imagine two individuals, their separate Moko designs not just complementing each other but literally intertwining, telling a shared story of their lives woven together on their very skin. It's like a medieval marriage certificate, but instead of paper and quill, it's blood, bone, and a lifetime commitment etched into your face. In Maori culture, marriage, morena or huinga, was a significant event, often involving strategic alliances between vanau or hapu, but also deeply valued for companionship and the continuation of lineage. When a man and a woman formed such a union, their individual identities, as expressed through their moko, could reflect this profound partnership. While it was highly unlikely for partners to have identical moko, as each was unique to an individual's whakapapa and achievements, their designs could incorporate elements that visibly acknowledge their bond. This is a mainstream historical fact. Maori moko designs could incorporate motifs and arrangements that signified marital status and intertribal alliances. Think of it as a subtle, yet powerful visual dialogue between two sets of moko. Perhaps a specific koru, spiral, pattern on a man's cheek, signifying growth and new beginnings, might be mirrored or responded to by a similar but distinct koru on his wife's chin, symbolizing the growth of their shared family. Or a particular lineage pattern, prominent on one partner's moko, might have a subtle, interwoven element on the other's, indicating the blending of their whakapapa through marriage. These were not casual marks. They were deliberate, sacred declarations of unity. You wouldn't just accidentally get a matching pattern. It was a choice, a statement, and a very painful one at that. It's definitely more commitment than a matching couple's t-shirt. The Tohungata Moko, with their profound understanding of cultural symbolism and individual history, would carefully craft these partnership patterns. They would ensure that while each Moko remained unique to the individual's personal narrative, the combined designs of a couple would subtly, or sometimes overtly, speak of their union. This required immense skill and a deep consultation process, as the Moko needed to respect both individual identity and the shared bond. The designs might be complementary in their flow, in their use of certain motifs, or in their overall aesthetic balance, creating a harmonious visual representation of their intertwined lives. A quirky tidbit is that some historical accounts suggest that for high-ranking individuals, the act of applying moko to a spouse could be a particularly intimate and culturally significant ritual, reaffirming their commitment publicly and spiritually. Historians still argue whether the primary purpose of these shared or complementary moko patterns was to declare a romantic bond or to emphasize the political and social alliance formed through marriage between two families or hapu. Regardless, the etching of such designs provided a permanent visible testament to their union. As you contemplate these intricate unions etchings, you see how moko elevated marriage and romantic partnership beyond a mere social contract. It made the bond tangible, visible, and enduring, a sacred declaration inscribed on the most personal of canvases. It was a commitment that defied time, carried on the skin, a testament to how deeply love stories were woven into the very fabric of Maori identity and the sacred art of moko. Moving from the vibrant declarations of partnership patterns, your attention shifts to a more poignant and often sorrowful aspect of moko, lament for loss, and how grief's carving provided a permanent visible testament to profound sorrow. Imagine a subtle line, a break in a pattern, or a specific motif etched into the skin that, to those who understood, spoke volumes of a loved one departed, a loss deeply felt, and the enduring ache of absence. It's like wearing your heart on your sleeve, but the sleeve is your entire body, and the heart is breaking silently. In Maori culture, grief, tangi, was, and is, a powerful and deeply communal experience. The loss of a loved one, especially a spouse, child, or close family member, was felt keenly and expressed through elaborate rituals, including tangi ceremonies. Given that moko was a living autobiography, it was only natural that such significant life events, particularly those involving profound sorrow, would find their way onto the skin. Moko was a permanent record of existence, and loss was an undeniable part of that existence. This is a mainstream historical fact, Moko designs could incorporate elements that reflected significant life events, including periods of mourning and loss. The expression of grief in Moko was often subtle, interwoven into the broader narrative of the individual's life. It might not be an obvious tear or a weeping figure, but rather a more abstract representation. Perhaps a particular spiral motif, which typically symbolized growth or continuity, might have a deliberate break or an unclosed line, indicating a life cut short or a connection severed. A pattern that usually flowed seamlessly might suddenly shift direction or become more angular, reflecting the abruptness and pain of the loss. You can almost feel the quiet weight of that sorrow, the unspoken narrative of absence etched permanently into the living flesh. It's a bit like a hidden track on an album, but instead of a song, it's a silent, aching memory. The act of receiving Moko to commemorate a loss could also be part of the healing process. Enduring the pain of the chisel might, in a way, parallel the emotional pain of grief, providing a physical manifestation of a profound internal struggle. It allowed the individual to carry their loved one with them always, not just in memory, but as a tangible part of their own identity. It was a commitment to remembrance, a visible vow that the departed would never be forgotten. A quirky tidbit is that in some Maori traditions, certain plants or natural elements associated with mourning, like specific types of ferns or particular birds known for their mournful cries, could be stylized and subtly incorporated into Moko designs to represent loss. Historians still argue whether the primary function of such grief-related Moko was to aid in personal mourning or to serve as a public declaration of the wearer's experience of loss to the wider community. Regardless, Moko provided a powerful and permanent means for individuals to express and carry their sorrow. As you contemplate the lines and swirls that spoke of absence, you see Moko not just as a celebration of life, but also as a profound testament to its inherent fragility and the enduring power of love that extends beyond the veil of death. Grief's carving ensured that those who were lost remained forever a part of the living, etched onto the very canvas of the self. From the poignant expressions of loss, your exploration of Moko's intricate language shifts to a more hopeful and vital aspect: fertility symbols, and how life's promise was invoked through specific designs. Imagine patterns etched onto the skin that weren't just about the past, but about the future. Symbols meant to encourage prosperity, abundance, and the continuation of the wanau and hapu. It's like wearing a permanent good luck charm for your family's future, ensuring the family tree keeps growing. In Maori society, the concept of fertility was deeply revered. The continuity of the wanau, extended family, and hapu, sub-tribe, was paramount, ensuring the survival and strength of the community. Children were considered a precious gift, representing the future generations who would carry on the wakapapa and traditions. Therefore, it was natural that Moko, as a comprehensive record of identity and aspiration, would incorporate designs intended to promote and celebrate fertility. This is a mainstream historical fact. Various indigenous cultures, including the Maori, incorporated fertility symbols into their art and body adornment to invoke blessings for offspring and abundance. These fertility symbols were rarely explicit or literal depictions of human reproduction. Instead, they were often highly stylized and abstract, drawing inspiration from the natural world which was itself seen as a source of life and abundance. Motifs inspired by the unfurling frond of a fern, koru, symbolizing new life and growth, were commonly used. Other patterns might evoke the strength and interconnectedness of roots, signifying the deep grounding of a family, or the abundance of the sea and land, representing sustenance and thriving. You can almost feel the quiet energy of these designs, silently humming with the promise of future generations. It's a bit like a medieval mood board for babies, but instead of pictures, it's intricate, meaningful swirls. For women especially, certain Moko designs might be associated with their capacity for motherhood and their role in bringing forth new life. While the moko kawai, chin moko, primarily signified beauty and status, the moko on other parts of the body, such as the thighs or abdomen, though less commonly practiced in extensive forms in historical records compared to face or buttocks, could incorporate subtle elements linked to fertility, protection during childbirth, or the nurturing of children. These designs served as blessings, invoking the spiritual forces that guided life and growth. For men, their moko, while often focused on warrior prowess and leadership, also inherently carried the promise of continuing their lineage. A man's mana, as expressed through his moko, was intimately tied to his ability to contribute to the strength and growth of his wānau. Therefore, the overall complexity and beauty of his moko, signifying his well-being and favour with the atua, ancestral gods, indirectly served as a symbol of his ability to father and provide for a thriving family. A quirky tidbit is that the koru motif, which resembles an unfurling fern frond, is one of the most recognisable and versatile Maori symbols, representing not only new life and growth, but also peace, tranquility, and new beginnings. Its ubiquitous presence in moko often carries these multi-layered meanings, including the hope for future generations. Historians still argue whether the spiritual efficacy of fertility symbols in moko was primarily believed to influence the wearer's reproductive capacity, or to invoke a more generalized sense of prosperity and abundance for the wānau. Regardless, the intention to secure life's promise through moko is a powerful aspect of its design. As you consider the intricate weaving of fertility symbols into moko, you see how this art form looked not only to the past and present, but also to the future. It was a profound declaration of hope, a spiritual invocation for the growth and continuation of the Maori people, ensuring that the legacy of Wakapapa would flourish for generations to come. Having explored moko's connection to life's promise through fertility symbols, your journey now turns to the fierce world of the warrior's heart, and how bravery's mark would intertwine with declarations of love in the intricate tapestry of moko. Imagine a warrior's face, etched with the stories of battles fought and enemies faced, yet within those same powerful lines, a subtle tribute to the gentle affection that fueled their courage. It's like a superhero wearing a crest that signifies both their incredible powers and their secret crush. For Maori men, particularly those of high rank, the facial moko, moko pohoro, and extensive body moko were paramount symbols of their identity as warriors. Their society often valued martial prowess, strategic thinking, and the ability to defend one's wānau and hapu. Moko patterns on a warrior's face, torso and limbs would depict their tribal affiliations, their lineage from great ancestors, and crucially their achievements in warfare. This included symbols of battles won, acts of bravery, just TOA, successful raids, and the taking of enemy mana. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko designs for Maori warriors often incorporated motifs representing military achievements and status. But here's where the intersection of bravery and love becomes fascinating. A warrior's courage was often inextricably linked to what they were fighting for, the protection of their land, their people, and their loved ones. The deep affection for a spouse, children, or family members could be the very motivation that fueled a warrior's mana and toa, bravery in battle. Therefore, it was entirely conceivable, even probable, that a warrior's moko, while primarily showcasing their martial prowess, would also subtly acknowledge the beloved individuals who inspired and anchored them. Imagine a specific swirl or curve within a warrior's chest moko, usually signifying strength or strategic cunning. This same pattern might be subtly connected to a design element on their spouse's moko kawe, creating a shared motif. This could signify that the warrior's strength in battle was in part drawn from the love and support of their partner. Or perhaps a line marking a significant victory also subtly incorporates a design element associated with their beloved, subtly stating that this triumph was for them, a dedication. You wouldn't find a direct declaration like, "I fought for you, honey," but rather an elegant abstract acknowledgement of their profound connection. It's like finding a secret message in an epic poem, only visible to those who know the code. The permanence of moko meant that this interweaving of love and bravery was for eternity. A warrior's moko would forever tell the story of their courage on the battlefield, but also the enduring affection that existed alongside it. It spoke to the holistic nature of Maori identity, where the fierce and the tender aspects of life were not compartmentalized, but beautifully integrated into a single profound narrative etched on the skin. A quirky tidbit is that some traditional Maori war chants, haka, often invoked the names of ancestors and acknowledged the support of the wānau, directly linking the warrior's ferocity to their familial bonds. This oral tradition parallels the visual storytelling of moko, where familial love could subtly empower martial display. Historians still argue whether the subtle expressions of romantic love within a warrior's moko were direct design choices by the individual, or if the Tuhungata Moko subtly wove in such themes based on their understanding of the warrior's life and relationships. Regardless, the intertwining of the warrior's heart and bravery's mark with love's gentle symbols speaks volumes about the depth of human connection. As you gaze upon these powerful, intricate designs, you understand that a warrior's moko was a testament not just to their formidable strength, but also to the profound emotional ties that rooted them. It was a permanent declaration that even in the heat of battle, the heart of a warrior held a cherished place for those they loved and fought to protect. From the intriguing blend of warrior prowess and personal affection, your journey now shifts to the deeply intertwined lives of couples, exploring spousal moko and the concept of a shared legacy etched permanently onto the skin. Imagine a husband and wife, their individual moko designs, though unique, holding subtle echoes and complementary motifs that visually declared their union, a permanent testament to their journey through life together. It's like their skin collectively formed a beautiful living tapestry of their shared history and love. In Maori society, the bond between spouses was not merely personal, but also deeply communal and political. Marriages could solidify alliances between hapu, sub-tribes, and iwi, tribes, ensuring peace and strengthening collective resources. Yet, within these broader societal functions, profound personal connections flourished, and these deep bonds were often honoured through moko. While a husband and wife would never have identical moko, as each was individually designed to reflect unique wakapapa and life achievements, their designs could be conceived to complement each other, creating a visual harmony that spoke of their shared existence. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko designs could signify marital status and alliances between individuals and their respective families or tribes. Consider the meticulous planning that might go into such a shared legacy. A Tuhungata Moko working on a spouse's moko might subtly integrate elements that linked back to their partner's existing moko. For example, a man's moko puhoro, facial moko, might feature a specific manaya, a mythological figure often with a bird-like head, representing a guardian or spiritual messenger, that was unique to his lineage, while his wife's moko kawe, chin moko, or pukoro, thigh moko, might incorporate a smaller, less prominent manaya with similar characteristics, or even a pattern representing the river or mountain of his ancestral lands. These subtle visual cues served as a permanent declaration of their intertwined lives and the blending of their individual wakapapa through their union. It's much more meaningful than matching couple t-shirts, and significantly more painful to acquire. The placement of these complementary patterns was also significant. Perhaps designs on their respective shoulders or arms might flow in a way that suggests unity when they stood together. The very act of receiving moko, as we've discussed, was a painful and sacred process. When undertaken by both partners, either simultaneously or in stages throughout their marriage, it became a shared experience of profound commitment, a test endured together, further cementing their bond. You can almost feel the quiet pride and resilience that would emanate from such a couple, their skins telling a story of enduring love and unity. A quirky tidbit that emphasises this unity is the Maori concept of Tarangawaiwe, meaning a place to stand, a strong and enduring connection to a particular piece of land. A marriage could create a new Tarangawaiwe for individuals, and their moko might subtly reflect this new, shared connection to a new place or a blended ancestral landscape. Historians still argue whether the primary intention of such spousal moko was to visually represent romantic affection or to formalise the social and political alliance between families through the bodies of the individuals. Regardless, the creation of a shared legacy through moko was a powerful act of unity. As you reflect on the deep connection expressed through spousal moko, you understand that for Maori couples, their skin became a testament to a love that transcended the ephemeral. It was a commitment made visible and permanent, a living declaration of their intertwined destinies and the enduring power of their shared journey through life. From the formal declarations of spousal moko, your perspective now shifts to the boundless joy and hope encapsulated in children's joy, and how family's pride found its delicate yet permanent place within moko. Imagine a subtle line, a playful swirl, or a specific motif tucked into a larger design that, to those who understood, spoke of the birth of a child, the milestones of their growth, and the immense love and pride they brought to the whanau. It's like wearing a tiny eternal baby photo album, but instead of pictures, it's intricate, meaningful art. In Maori culture, children, tamariki, were, and still are, cherished as the lifeblood and future of the wānau and hapu. They represented the continuation of whakapapa, the living embodiment of ancestral legacies, and the promise of future strength and prosperity. The arrival of a child was a momentous occasion, celebrated with profound joy and gratitude. Given that moko was a comprehensive visual record of a person's life and identity, it was only natural that the birth and presence of children would be woven into its intricate designs. This is a mainstream historical fact. The birth and growth of children were significant life events that could be commemorated and reflected in Maori art and personal adornment. The way children's joy was expressed in moko was often subtle and symbolic rather than literal. You wouldn't typically find portraits of children, but rather abstract motifs that conveyed their presence and the profound happiness they brought. For example, a new koru, spiral, might be added to a parent's moko, symbolising not just general new growth, but specifically the unfurling of a new life within their family. Or perhaps patterns might expand or become more intricate in certain areas, signifying the branching out of the family tree and the addition of new generations. These additions or subtle alterations served as a permanent record of parenthood, a quiet declaration of immense love and family's pride. It's more sophisticated than simply getting mom tattooed on your arm. It's an entire genealogical narrative woven into your being. For a mother, her moko, particularly her moko kawai, chin moko, and perhaps designs on her arms or shoulders, might subtly incorporate elements that speak to her role as a nurturer and the bringer of life. These designs might emphasize motifs of protection, growth, and the sacredness of motherhood. For a father, his moko, while often focusing on his warrior or leadership roles, would also inherently convey his commitment to providing for and protecting his children, ensuring the continuity of his line. The mana displayed on his skin was often directly tied to his ability to sustain and grow his wānau. The permanence of moko meant that these symbols of children's joy were carried for a lifetime, a constant, tangible reminder of the cherished offspring. It was a visible vow that the children, their importance and the love they inspired, were forever a part of the parent's identity. The pain endured during the moko process itself further elevated the significance of these designs, tying the profound act of creation to the profound love for one's progeny. A quirky tidbit that reflects the deep connection to children is the Maori practice of takarangi spirals, which often symbolise the unfolding of creation and life itself, and could be subtly adapted to represent the concept of lineage and the flow of generations within moko. Historians still argue whether the emphasis on family and fertility in moko designs was primarily a reflection of social norms emphasising procreation, or if it also served as a spiritual invocation for abundant offspring. Regardless, the etching of children's joy and family's pride into moko underscores its role as a living family history. As you contemplate the presence of these precious symbols, you understand that moko was not just a record of individual achievement, but a heartfelt celebration of the most fundamental unit of Maori society, the family. It was a permanent declaration of love that flowed through generations, etched forever onto the very canvas of the self. From the profound joy of children's presence in moko, your journey now moves to how the very stories of the Maori people, their histories and beliefs, flowed not just through spoken words, but directly into the visual language of their skin. This brings us to oral traditions and the concept of moko designs as living designs, constantly echoing ancient narratives. Imagine standing before a tattooed elder and realizing that their body is a walking library, each intricate pattern a verse, a chapter or an entire epic from their ancestral past. It's like their skin is a personal sacred audiobook, but you have to know how to read the illustrations. In pre-European Maori society, the transmission of knowledge was overwhelmingly oral. Histories, genealogies, wakapapa, myths, legends, songs, waiata, chants, karakia, and proverbs, wakataukons, were meticulously memorized and passed down through generations. Expert reciters, or tohunga korero, dedicated their lives to preserving these vast bodies of knowledge. Moko, as a visual art form deeply integrated into identity, naturally became intertwined with these rich oral traditions. This is a mainstream historical fact. Oral traditions were the primary means of historical, cultural and spiritual transmission in pre-literate Maori society. Every motif, every line, every spiral within a moko design often had a corresponding narrative or a specific association within Maori oral history. A particular koru, spiral, might represent the journey of an ancestor across the ocean to Aotearoa. A stylized manaya, a mythological creature with a bird-like head, often a guardian, could embody a specific atua, ancestral god, or a significant spiritual event from tribal lore. The overall composition of a moko could literally be seen as a visual summary, a mnemonic device, for vast bodies of oral knowledge relevant to the wearer's wakapapa and iwi. It's like having an elaborate mnemonic on your skin, but instead of remembering your grocery list, you're remembering thousands of years of history. The Tahungata moko artist, was not just an artisan but also a guardian and interpreter of these oral traditions. They had to possess not only the technical skill to carve the moko, but also a deep knowledge of wakapapa and tribal lore to ensure that the designs were accurate, appropriate, and meaningful to the individual. The process of applying moko was often accompanied by recitations of karakia, chants, and waiata, songs, that further connected the visual art to the spoken heritage, imbuing the moko with spiritual power and reinforcing its meaning. You can almost hear the low, resonant chants, weaving spells of identity and history into the very act of creation. For individuals, their moko became a tangible link to these oral traditions. It wasn't just a record of their personal life, but a continuous affirmation of their connection to the larger narratives of their people. When they performed a haka or delivered a formal speech on the marae, meeting grounds, their moko visually underscored their words, adding weight and authority by showcasing their embeddedness in ancestral history. A quirky tidbit that highlights this connection is the practice of waiata tangi, laments, that often describe a person's physical features, including their moko, as a way to honour their life and identity after death, effectively reading their moko through song. Historians still argue whether the specific meanings of all moko patterns were universally understood across different iwi, tribes, or if some interpretations were more localised and personal, requiring specific oral knowledge to fully decipher. Regardless, the profound link between moko and oral traditions is undeniable, making the designs truly living designs. As you contemplate the skin as a repository of ancestral knowledge, you realise that moko was a magnificent convergence of art and oral tradition. It ensured that the stories, the history, and the very essence of the Maori people were not just heard, but visually embodied, carried on the skin, and continually brought to life with every movement and every spoken word. From the rich tapestry of oral traditions, your focus now sharpens on how these narratives unfolded directly on the skin, transforming moko into a true storytelling skin, where narrative flows across the human form. Imagine each design element not as a standalone symbol, but as a component within a larger unfolding chronicle, meticulously placed to guide the eye and convey a continuous story from one part of the body to another. It's like their skin wasn't just a surface. It was a carefully curated graphic novel of their life. Moko was never simply a collection of disconnected tattoos. Instead, the Tahungata moko artist, was a master storyteller, designing the moko as an integrated, flowing narrative. The patterns were specifically arranged to follow the natural contours of the face and body, enhancing their form while simultaneously telling a coherent story. This meant that certain sections of moko might represent early life, others maturity, and still others significant achievements or relationships, all interconnected within a single, grand design. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko designs were highly integrated and flowed across the body, forming a cohesive narrative rather than disparate elements. Think of how a story unfolds. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, with various subplots and character developments. Similarly, a moko could begin on the forehead, detailing lineage and birth, then flow down to the cheeks and chin, recording accomplishments and status. On the body, the designs might extend from the shoulders down to the thighs, chronicling journeys, battles, or significant alliances. The specific placement of each motif was not arbitrary. It was a deliberate choice to ensure the narrative flows logically and meaningfully, making the skin truly a storytelling skin. You could, theoretically, read a person's life by tracing the patterns on their body, much like you'd read a map of their personal history. It's significantly more immersive than just flipping through an old photo album, and the pictures don't fade. The skill of the Tahungata moko lay not only in their artistic execution, but also in their ability to translate complex life stories and wakapapa into this continuous visual language. They understood how different design elements such as koru, spirals, manaya, mythological figures, and ononai, fish scales, could be combined and manipulated to convey layers of meaning, from personal grief to tribal victories, all within a harmonious and aesthetically pleasing whole. A quirky tidbit that illustrates this narrative flow is the concept of hihei, the deep scarring or grooving created by the ui, chisels. These physical grooves literally created channels for the story to flow across the skin, giving the moko a unique three-dimensional quality that emphasized its depth of meaning and permanence. Historians still argue whether the Tohunga Tamoko primarily relied on pre-existing pattern templates for tribal identity, or if they had significant artistic license to create unique visual narratives for each individual. Regardless, the intentional flow of patterns to tell a life story is a key aspect of moko. As you contemplate the skin as a canvas for flowing narratives, you understand that moko was a profound and dynamic form of communication. It allowed the Maori to literally embody their history, their achievements, and their deepest connections, making their very skin a testament to the continuous, unfolding story of their lives, including, of course, their treasured love stories. From the intricate narrative flows of moko telling personal and tribal histories, you now journey into a deeper realm, the spiritual connection that moko facilitated, revealing the inner world of the wearer. Imagine the profound belief that the lines on your skin weren't just ink and scar tissue, but pathways, connecting you directly to the divine, to your ancestors, and to the very essence of your spiritual being. It's like having a permanent, highly personal prayer etched into your skin, a direct line to the spiritual realm. In Maori cosmology, the physical and spiritual worlds were not separate but intrinsically intertwined. Everything possessed mori, life force, and was imbued with spiritual significance. Moko, as a sacred art form performed by Tohunga Tamoko, moko artists, who were themselves often spiritual experts, was deeply embedded in this holistic worldview. The application of moko was not merely an aesthetic process but a profound spiritual ritual, often accompanied by karakia, chants, and invocations to the atua, ancestral gods or deities. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko was considered a sacred practice, imbued with spiritual significance and performed with accompanying rituals. It was believed that moko enhanced an individual's mana, prestige, and spiritual authority, drawing power from their ancestors in the spiritual realm. The designs themselves could be seen as symbolic representations of spiritual concepts, mythical beings, or ancestral guardians, offering protection and guidance to the wearer. For example, a manaya motif, often depicted with a bird-like head, was believed to be a spiritual guardian, acting as a messenger between the earthly and spiritual worlds, offering protection against evil and guiding the wearer on their life's journey. You can almost feel the presence of these unseen forces, channeled and contained within the intricate patterns. It's like having a permanent spiritual bodyguard, but they communicate through swirling lines. The pain endured during the moko process also contributed to its spiritual dimension. It was seen as a transformative experience, a test of spiritual fortitude that purified the individual and prepared them to embody the sacredness of their moko. Emerging from the tapu, sacred, often restrictive, state of being tattooed meant moving to a new level of spiritual awareness and connection. For individuals, moko served as a constant reminder of their spiritual lineage and their relationship with the atua. It was a personal covenant, a visible commitment to their spiritual path and their cultural heritage. In times of contemplation or seeking guidance, touching one's moko could be a tactile connection to this inner world, a way to draw strength from their ancestral and spiritual foundations. A quirky tidbit that further emphasizes this spiritual connection is the belief that moko served as a crucial identifier in the afterlife. It was thought that upon death, the moko would allow the spirit to be recognized by ancestors in the spirit world, ensuring a smooth transition and acceptance into the realm of the departed. Historians still argue whether the spiritual efficacy of moko was primarily believed to come from the tapu of the Tohunga Tamoko or from the inherent sacredness of the designs themselves. Regardless, moko was undoubtedly a powerful bridge to the inner world and the spiritual connection of the wearer. As you gaze at these intricate designs, you understand that moko was far more than just skin deep. It was a profound spiritual language, a permanent declaration of one's relationship with the divine, and a powerful testament to the rich and complex inner world of the Maori people, ensuring their identity flowed seamlessly between the physical and spiritual realms. From the deep spiritual connection that Moko provided, your focus now shifts to how this sacred art was applied differently, yet equally powerfully, based on gender, revealing the nuances of gendered Moko and its distinct canvases. Imagine the striking full-face Moko of a warrior standing beside the elegant chin and lip Moko of a woman, each bearing unique designs and cultural significance, yet both proclaiming identity with equal pride. It's like looking at two different, equally profound paintings, each telling a distinct story through the same artistic medium. In Maori society, while Moko was fundamental for both men and women, the specific areas of the body tattooed and the typical motifs used often differed, reflecting their distinct roles, responsibilities, and expressions of beauty within the community. These differences were not about superiority or inferiority, but about cultural appropriateness and the distinct ways mana and whakapapa were manifested through each gender. This is a mainstream historical fact. Traditional Maori Moko had distinct patterns and placements for men and women, reflecting their differing societal roles. For men, the most extensive and revered form of Moko was the facial Moko, or tamoko, which covered the entire face. This intricate tattooing was primarily a display of his whakapapa, genealogy, mana, prestige and spiritual authority, and his achievements, particularly in warfare and leadership. The patterns would emphasize bone structure, creating a formidable and awe-inspiring visage. Other significant areas for male Moko included the buttocks, rape, and thighs, puhoro, often displaying abstract patterns and spirals that highlighted physical prowess and tribal identity. It's like a man's face was his public declaration of war, and his legs were his personal resume of victories. For women, the most prominent and deeply cherished Moko was the Moko Kawe, the beautiful and often intricate tattooing of the chin and lips. This Moko was a mark of profound beauty, status, and maturity, signifying a woman's readiness for marriage, her lineage, and her ability to contribute to the Wanao family and Hapu sub-tribe. It was seen as enhancing a woman's attractiveness and reflecting her inner strength and spiritual grace. While some women also received Moko on their shoulders, arms, or back, the Moko Kawe remained the most iconic and essential female Moko. Imagine the grace and dignity conveyed by these elegant lines that enhance the natural beauty of the lips and chin. It's truly a timeless statement of feminine power. The symbolism within the gendered Moko also varied. While men's Moko often featured more aggressive, angular, or complex patterns reflecting their warrior roles, women's Moko tended to incorporate more delicate, flowing koru, spiral designs, emphasizing growth, beauty, and nurturing qualities. However, both shared fundamental principles of whakapapa and mana, simply expressed through different visual vocabularies appropriate to their gendered roles. A quirky tidbit is that the dark pigment used for the lips in Moko Kawe was sometimes derived from a different, finer soot than that used for other Moko, reflecting the desire for a particularly smooth and elegant finish on this highly visible and delicate area. Historians still argue whether the distinct gendered patterns in Moko primarily reinforced traditional gender roles, or if they also provided avenues for individuals to express personal aspects of their identity within those roles. Regardless, the concept of gendered Moko on different canvases clearly illustrates the nuanced and comprehensive nature of this sacred art form. As you reflect on these distinct yet equally profound expressions of Moko, you appreciate how deeply interwoven identity was with gender in Maori culture. Moko served not only to define the individual, but also to celebrate the unique strengths and contributions of both men and women within the vibrant tapestry of their society. Beyond its profound significance in identity and spirituality, you now turn to the sheer visual impact of Moko, appreciating its aesthetical beauty and the sophisticated artistry's appeal. Imagine not just a collection of lines, but a dynamic interplay of curves, spirals, and intricate patterns that flow across the human form, transforming it into a living, breathing masterpiece. It's like looking at a walking sculpture, where the contours of the body are enhanced by the deliberate elegance of the designs. Maori Moko is renowned worldwide for its striking visual complexity and aesthetic depth. Unlike many forms of tattooing that rely on flat, two-dimensional imagery, traditional Moko, with its chiseled grooves, created a unique three-dimensional effect, making the skin itself part of the art. The interplay of light and shadow on the raised patterns added a dynamic quality, making the Moko appear to shift and change with the wearer's movements. This inherent dimensionality contributes significantly to its distinctive beauty. This is a mainstream historical fact. Traditional Maori Moko is characterized by its distinctive, raised, grooved patterns, differentiating it from flat tattoos. The artistry's appeal lay in the Tohunga Tamoko's profound understanding of mana, prestige, wakapapa, genealogy, and the natural world, translating these complex concepts into visually stunning designs. They possessed an incredible eye for balance, symmetry, or deliberate asymmetry where culturally meaningful, and flow. The patterns were not haphazard, they were meticulously planned to complement the individual's bone structure and facial features, enhancing their natural beauty and power. For example, the spirals of a facial Moko would often echo the curves of the cheekbones or the jawline, creating a harmonious and aesthetically pleasing integration of art and anatomy. You could almost feel the intentionality in every line, a deliberate dance between the artist's vision and the human canvas. It's like these artists were the original bioengineers, but with chisels instead of microscopes. Moko motifs, while deeply symbolic, were also inherently beautiful. The koru, with its unfurling spiral, is a prime example, elegant in its simplicity yet capable of profound variations and complex arrangements. The manea, a mythical bird-headed figure, could be rendered with both power and grace. The intricate interlocking patterns, unaunahi, representing fish scales, or patiki, representing flounder, created stunning textures and visual rhythms. These designs weren't just culturally significant, they were masterpieces of abstract art. The colours, typically dark blue-black, contributed to the powerful aesthetic, providing a stark contrast against the skin that made the intricate details stand out. The rich, deep tones allowed the texture created by the chiselling to truly shine, giving the Moko a sculptural quality. A quirky tidbit that underscores the aesthetic value is the careful selection of individuals chosen to receive extensive Moko. Often, those deemed to possess great beauty, mana, or leadership potential were adorned with the most elaborate designs, suggesting that Moko was seen as both a marker of existing beauty and a means to enhance it. Historians still argue whether the primary driving force behind Moko development was its spiritual and identity-affirming function, or its profound aesthetic appeal and artistic expression. Regardless, the aesthetical beauty of Moko and its artistry's appeal are undeniable, drawing admiration from cultures worldwide. As you contemplate the sheer visual magnificence of Moko, you appreciate that it was a powerful fusion of art, culture, and identity. It transformed the human body into a canvas of profound beauty, a testament to the sophisticated artistic sensibilities of the Maori people, and a permanent declaration of who they were, inside and out. Having appreciated the sheer artistry and aesthetic appeal of Moko, your journey now shifts to the quiet yet profound period that followed its application, the healing process, a crucial time that served as a resilience's test. Imagine the raw, swollen skin, the discomfort and vulnerability, and the meticulous care required to ensure the Moko healed perfectly, allowing its deep cultural significance to fully bloom. It's like recovering from major surgery, but instead of just healing a wound, you're also nurturing a spiritual transformation. The creation of traditional Moko, with its chiseling technique, was an invasive procedure that left the skin raw and open. Immediately after the Moko was applied, the tattooed area would be swollen, painful, and prone to infection. The period of healing was therefore critical not only for the physical well-being of the individual, but also for the successful integration of the Moko into their identity. This process could take weeks or even months for complete recovery. This is a mainstream historical fact. The traditional Moko application process resulted in significant skin trauma, requiring a dedicated healing period and careful aftercare to prevent infection. During this time, the individual who had received Moko, and often the Tohunga Moko artists themselves, would enter a state of tapu, a sacred and often restrictive condition. This meant adhering to strict protocols to ensure the Moko healed properly, and its spiritual potency was preserved. These restrictions could include limitations on certain foods, avoiding hard or solid foods that might move the facial muscles too much if the moko was on the face, abstaining from sexual activity, and minimizing contact with others. The focus was entirely on healing and spiritual integrity. You can almost feel the heightened sense of discipline and mindfulness that would accompany this period, every action carefully considered to avoid disrupting the delicate process. It's a bit like a medieval detox, but instead of kale smoothies, it involves a lot of careful lying still. The aftercare for the moko was also crucial. Traditional remedies, often involving plant extracts and soothing poultices, would be applied to the tattooed area to promote healing, reduce swelling, and prevent infection. The care was meticulous, reflecting the immense value placed on the moko itself. The ability to endure this period of discomfort, isolation, and strict adherence to tapu rules was a further test of the individual's resilience. It demonstrated their patience, their discipline, and their unwavering commitment to the sacred art and the identity it represented. It wasn't just about surviving the pain of the chisel, it was about honouring the entire transformative journey. A quirky tidbit is that in some accounts, the very act of undergoing the healing process, with its associated tapu restrictions, was believed to further enhance the spiritual connection between the individual and their moko, drawing deeper mana into the freshly carved patterns. Historians still argue whether the strictness of the tapu associated with moko healing was primarily for practical health reasons to prevent infection, or if its emphasis was more on the spiritual purification and transformation of the individual. Regardless, the healing process was an undeniable resiliences test, solidifying the moko's meaning. As you contemplate the period of quiet healing, you understand that moko was not merely about the dramatic act of its creation. It was also about the patient endurance, the meticulous care, and the profound resilience required to integrate this sacred art into one's very being, allowing it to truly become a living testament to identity and belonging. Emerging from the quiet, transformative period of healing, your understanding of moko's significance now shifts to its public face, public display, and how it served as a powerful declaration of visible allegiance. Imagine a Maori gathering where every face and body tells a story, instantly communicating an individual's tribal identity, their lineage, and their place within the intricate social fabric of their community. It's like everyone is wearing their social security number, family crest, and LinkedIn profile all at once, permanently etched onto their skin. In Maori society, especially in pre-European times, moko was a fundamental form of communication. It was not just for personal reflection. It was designed to be seen and understood by others. When individuals from different whanau, families, hapu, sub-tribes, or iwi, tribes, met, their moko served as an immediate visual identifier. It allowed for quick recognition of who a person was, where they came from, and their standing within their community. This was crucial in a society where oral traditions and personal connections were paramount, and formal written records did not exist in the same way they did in Europe. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko functioned as a visual identification system, communicating tribal affiliation, status, and lineage within Maori society. The patterns on a person's moko, particularly the facial moko, to moko for men, moko kawe for women, contained specific motifs and stylistic elements that were characteristic of particular regions or tribal groups. An expert in moko, or a knowledgeable member of another tribe, could often discern an individual's iwi or even hapu by reading the unique designs on their face. This served as a visible passport, instantly establishing connections or indicating potential rivalries. You could essentially tell if you were meeting a friend or an enemy just by looking at their face, which, let's be honest, saves a lot of awkward small talk. Beyond tribal identification, moko also displayed an individual's mana, prestige and spiritual authority, and their achievements. A fully tattooed face or body was a clear indication of a person of high rank, someone who had undergone significant life experiences and earned their place within the community. It was a visual resume of their contributions, their bravery, and their wisdom, all publicly displayed for all to acknowledge. This visible allegiance was not just to a tribe, but to a way of life, to a set of values, and to the ancestors who had shaped their identity. A quirky tidbit that underscores the public nature of moko is the historical anecdote of Maori chiefs drawing their moko as their signature on treaties or documents during early European contact, signifying that their moko was their ultimate undeniable mark of identity and authority. Historians still argue whether the primary function of the facial moko was to identify tribal affiliation in war or to display personal status and achievements within the community in times of peace. Regardless, the public display of moko was unequivocally a powerful form of visible allegiance. As you contemplate the skin as a billboard of identity, you understand that moko was far more than personal adornment. It was a dynamic, living language that allowed individuals to proudly declare their belonging, their achievements, and their unwavering connection to their people, making their very skin a testament to their indelible place within the Maori world. From the loud, public declarations of moko, your journey now shifts to its inverse, private meanings, and the fascinating world of intimate codes hidden within the intricate designs. Imagine a specific swirl or line that, to an outsider, might seem purely aesthetic, but to the wearer and perhaps one or two cherished individuals, whispers a deeply personal secret, a shared memory, or a private vow. It's like their skin has a secret room, only accessible by those with the special key. While much of moko was designed for public display and to communicate a person's identity to the wider community, not every element was intended for universal comprehension. Just as in any rich and complex culture, there existed layers of meaning, some of which were deeply personal and reserved for those with intimate knowledge of the wearer's life. These intimate codes allowed moko to serve as both a public declaration and a private chronicle, simultaneously broadcasting identity and holding cherished secrets close. This is a mainstream historical fact. While moko conveyed public identity, some elements held specific personal or familial meanings known only to a select few. Consider a warrior's moko puhoro, facial moko, or extensive body moko. While many patterns proclaimed his bravery or lineage, a particular small motif within a larger design might represent a personal triumph, known only to him and his closest companions, or a vow made to a specific ancestor during a private spiritual experience. For a woman, her moko kawe, chin moko, while publicly affirming her status and beauty, could also include a subtle variation in a koru, spiral, that represented a particularly poignant memory shared with her husband, or a secret hope for her children's future that she held solely in her heart. You wouldn't just walk up to someone and ask about these intimate details. They were revealed through deep connection and trust. It's like the ultimate inside joke, but instead of words, it's etched onto your cheek. These private meanings often stemmed from deeply personal experiences, emotions, or relationships that were too sacred, too tender, or too sensitive for open broadcast. They might relate to an unfulfilled dream, a private spiritual revelation, or a unique bond with a loved one that transcended public societal roles. The Tuhunga Tamoko, moko artist, having consulted deeply with the individual, would be privy to these intimate details and would skillfully weave them into the overall design, ensuring their privacy while permanently acknowledging their significance. A quirky tidbit that demonstrates this concept is the historical accounts of individuals sometimes having moko applied to less visible parts of the body, such as the inner thighs or upper arms, specifically for a very personal or private meaning that might not be intended for regular public viewing. Historians still argue whether the prevalence of truly secret moko meanings was widespread or if most moko elements, while complex, were generally decipherable by knowledgeable members of the wider iwi. Regardless, the capacity for moko to hold private meanings through intimate codes speaks to its remarkable depth as a form of personal expression. As you contemplate these hidden narratives, you realize that moko, for all its public grandeur, also offered a profound space for introspection and personal truth. It allowed individuals to carry their most cherished secrets and intimate connections not just in their hearts, but as permanent sacred etchings on their skin, a testament to the layers of identity that make up every human being. From the intriguing depths of private meanings in moko, your journey now turns to the sacred protocols that surrounded its creation, taboo and tapu, and the strict sacred restrictions that governed moko application. Imagine a time when the very act of tattooing was enveloped in a profound spiritual aura, demanding meticulous adherence to rules that ensured not just physical safety, but spiritual integrity. It's like performing a delicate spiritual surgery where every single step is a sacred dance. In Maori culture, the concepts of tapu, sacred, forbidden, under spiritual restriction, and noa, ordinary, unrestricted, free from tapu, were fundamental to daily life and spiritual well-being. Things, places, and people could be tapu for various reasons: inherent sacredness, association with the divine, or temporary states during significant rituals. The process of moko application was considered intensely tapu, given its connection to mana, wakapapa, and the spiritual realm. This meant a strict set of rules and protocols had to be followed to protect all involved and ensure the sanctity of the process. This is a mainstream historical fact. The application of moko was a highly tapu, sacred and restricted activity in Maori culture, with strict protocols observed by both the tohunga tamoko and the recipient. During the moko process, both the tohunga tamoko, moko artist, and the person receiving the moko were considered in a state of extreme tapu. This state imposed a range of sacred restrictions. For instance, food consumption was often limited to liquids or soft foods, which had to be fed to the recipient by others, as their hands were considered tapu and could not touch their own head, the head being the most tapu part of the body, especially when undergoing facial moko. Similarly, the tohunga tamoko themselves would adhere to strict dietary rules and abstain from certain activities during the tattooing period. You can almost feel the heightened atmosphere, a solemn quiet broken only by the rhythmic tapping of the yuhi, surrounded by a profound sense of reverence. It's like everyone involved had to follow a very strict ancient instruction manual, and deviating wasn't an option, unless you wanted to risk spiritual catastrophe. These restrictions weren't arbitrary. They were believed to protect the mana of the moko, prevent spiritual contamination, and ensure the successful and safe completion of the sacred art. Any breach of tapu was believed to have serious consequences, ranging from illness and misfortune to spiritual imbalance for the individual, or even their wānau. The instruments used for moko were also highly tapu and kept separate from other tools. The space where moko was applied was also deemed tapu, often a designated area within the mare meeting grounds, or a specific house, ensuring privacy and spiritual containment. This carefully controlled environment ensured that the profound spiritual act of moko creation was conducted with the utmost respect and adherence to ancestral traditions. A quirky tidbit that highlights the strictness of tapu around the head is that individuals undergoing facial moko sometimes couldn't even wipe away their own blood or sweat during the process. Instead, a designated helper would perform this task for them. Historians still argue whether the elaborate tapu rules surrounding moko were primarily designed to ensure hygiene and prevent infection, given the painful nature of the procedure, or if their main purpose was spiritual, to enhance the sacredness and mana of the moko. Regardless, the powerful concepts of taboo and tapu undoubtedly enforce sacred restrictions on moko application. As you consider these stringent protocols, you gain a deeper appreciation for the immense reverence that surrounded moko. It was not just an art form, it was a sacred covenant, a profound spiritual journey undertaken with meticulous care and unwavering adherence to ancient laws, ensuring its power and purity remained intact. From the rigid adherence to tapu and its sacred restrictions, you now encounter a pivotal moment in the history of moko, the European arrival and the subsequent shifting sands that drastically altered this ancient art form. Imagine a world where the very canvas of identity, the sacred moko, suddenly became a commodity, a curiosity, and eventually a target for suppression, ushering in a period of immense change and challenge. It's like a vibrant living library suddenly being exposed to a foreign language, and not all the translators have good intentions. The arrival of European explorers, traders, sealers, whalers, and later missionaries and settlers from the late 18th century onwards brought unprecedented and often devastating changes to Maori society. Their technologies, diseases, and ideologies collided with traditional Maori ways of life, leading to profound disruptions across all aspects of culture, including moko. The shifting sands were swift and often brutal, irrevocably altering the landscape of Maori identity. This is a mainstream historical fact. European contact had a profound and often detrimental impact on traditional Maori practices, including moko, due to introduced diseases, warfare, and cultural suppression. One of the most immediate and tragic impacts on moko was the demand for mokomokai, the preserved, tattooed heads of Maori ancestors. Early European collectors, fascinated by the intricate facial moko, began to trade muskets and other European goods for these heads. This created a horrific and unforeseen consequence. It fueled intertribal warfare as tribes sought to acquire more heads to trade for the highly desired European weapons. This transformation of a sacred identifier into a macabre commodity was a profound desecration and a tragic period in Maori history, directly contributing to the decimation of populations during the musket wars. You can almost feel the cultural shock and despair as something so sacred became an object of trade with devastating human cost. It's a bit like someone offering to buy your family photo albums, but only if they're still attached to your living relatives. Beyond the immediate tragedy of the mokomokai trade, other pressures mounted. Missionaries who began to arrive in significant numbers in the early 19th century often viewed moko as a pagan practice, a mark of savagery incompatible with Christian beliefs. They actively discouraged or forbade their Maori converts from receiving moko, leading to a decline in its practice, particularly among those who adopted Christianity. The introduction of European clothing also meant that body moko became less visible, further reducing its public function. Colonial administration and the establishment of British law also contributed to the decline. As Maori lands were confiscated and traditional social structures eroded, the elaborate rituals and resources required for moko application became harder to sustain. The very notion of an individualized sacred identity marked on the skin clashed with European concepts of property and personhood. A quirky tidbit that reflects this clash of cultures is early European explorers' detailed drawings and descriptions of moko, which, while sometimes inaccurate, became crucial historical records of the art form, even as the practice itself began to decline. Historians still argue whether the decline of moko in the 19th century was primarily due to missionary influence and direct suppression, or if it was an inevitable consequence of broader societal changes and the devastating impact of introduced diseases and warfare. Regardless, the European arrival marked a period of profound shifting sands for moko. As you contemplate this period of intense change, you understand that the arrival of Europeans brought not just new technologies, but new values that fundamentally challenged the very foundation of Maori identity expressed through moko. It was a dark chapter, but one that ultimately, as we'll see, also laid the groundwork for a powerful resurgence. From the profound disruptions caused by European arrival, you now specifically focus on one of the most brutal consequences for moko, the musket wars, and how they brought moko's peril to an unimaginable degree. Imagine the sacred art of moko, a symbol of life, identity and prestige, suddenly becoming a death sentence, turning its wearers into targets in a conflict fueled by foreign weaponry. It's like discovering that your beautiful, unique passport has suddenly become a bounty poster. The early 19th century in Aotearoa was dominated by a period known as the Musket Wars. These were a series of highly destructive intertribal conflicts, largely driven by the introduction of European muskets. Maori tribes quickly recognized the devastating power of these new weapons, which far surpassed their traditional weaponry like the taiaha, a long fighting staff, or patu, a short club. The scramble to acquire muskets from European traders led to an unprecedented escalation of warfare, altering traditional Maori society forever. This is a mainstream historical fact. The Musket Wars, early 19th century, were a period of intense intertribal warfare in New Zealand, significantly fueled by the acquisition of European muskets. Here's where moko's peril became acutely apparent. European traders, particularly those involved in the whaling and sealing industries, developed a macabre fascination with mokomokai, the preserved tattooed heads of Maori. These heads, with their intricate and unique facial moko, were seen as valuable curiosities and became a desired commodity in Europe. The demand for mokomokai tragically incentivized some tribes to go to war not just for land or prestige, but specifically to obtain the heads of high-ranking enemy chiefs who possessed full facial moko. These heads were then traded for muskets, creating a devastating cycle of violence. You can almost feel the chilling horror of this period, where displaying one's identity could literally mean losing one's head. It's like your unique family crest becoming a literal target. Warriors who bore elaborate facial moko, symbolizing their high status and mana, were precisely the ones most at risk. They were the most sought-after prizes in these horrifying transactions. The very mark of their identity and power paradoxically became a vulnerability in this new, brutal era of warfare. This led to a tragic period where some Maori even ceased getting full facial moko, or chose less extensive designs, in an effort to avoid becoming a target, or perhaps to protect their families from the potential consequences of their death in battle. The musket wars were catastrophic for the Maori population, with estimates of tens of thousands of deaths. Moko, an art form that celebrated life and identity, was tragically caught in this whirlwind of violence and commercial exploitation. The sacredness of moko was violated, and its traditional meaning twisted by the horrifying trade in mokomokai. A quirky tidbit that demonstrates the depth of this tragedy is how the desire for muskets sometimes even led tribes to execute slaves or captives solely for their, or their ancestors' moko, if they possessed one, to fulfill trade demands. Historians still argue whether the primary cause of the musket wars was the inherent intertribal rivalries, or if the introduction of muskets was the sole catalyst that magnified existing tensions to an unprecedented degree. Regardless, the musket wars unequivocally brought moko's peril to the forefront, marking a dark chapter in its history. As you reflect on this period of immense violence and exploitation, you understand the profound vulnerability that moko faced when confronted with the brutal realities of European trade and warfare. It was a time when identity, so proudly displayed, became a mark of danger, yet one that, as we will see, ultimately contributed to the art form's resilience and eventual revival. From the brutal reality of the musket wars and moko's peril, your journey now moves to another significant force that impacted the sacred art: missionary influence and the long condemnation shadow it cast over moko. Imagine devout European missionaries arriving on the shores of Aotearoa, viewing the intricate spiritual art of moko not as a beautiful expression of culture, but as a pagan, barbaric practice to be eradicated in the name of God. It's like someone coming into your home and telling you your family photos are actually sinful drawings. Christian missionaries, primarily from the Church Missionary Society, Anglican, and later other denominations, began arriving in New Zealand in the early 19th century with the fervent aim of converting Maori to Christianity. They brought with them not only the gospel, but also European social norms, values, and a worldview that often stood in stark contrast to traditional Maori beliefs and practices. Moko, with its deep spiritual connotations, its connection to ancestral gods, Atiua, and its association with a non-Christian way of life, quickly became a target for their zealous condemnation. This is a mainstream historical fact. Christian missionaries actively discouraged and often condemned moko as a pagan practice among Maori converts in the 19th century. The missionaries saw moko as a mark of heathenism and savagery. They preached against it, equating it with the perceived sins of the flesh and urging converts to abandon the practice as a sign of their new faith. For Maori who embraced Christianity, receiving moko could mean excommunication from the church, a loss of missionary support, or even social ostracization within newly established Christian communities. This created a profound dilemma for many Maori, forcing them to choose between their ancestral traditions and the new religion that promised salvation, and often practical benefits like access to European goods and education. You can almost feel the weight of that impossible choice. Having to shed a part of your identity to embrace a new path is like being told you can't wear your favourite hat because it offends the new boss, except your hat is carved into your face. The condemnation's shadow extended beyond direct prohibition. As Maori converts increasingly adopted European clothing, the visibility of body moko naturally diminished, further contributing to its decline. The emphasis on modesty and the covering of the body in European dress contrasted sharply with the Maori tradition of moko as a public, visible declaration of identity. While the missionaries' intentions were often rooted in their genuine belief in the superiority of their own faith and culture, their impact on moko was undeniably destructive. Their pressure, combined with the devastating effects of the musket wars and introduced diseases, led to a significant decline in the practice of moko throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, with many traditional patterns and techniques lost or forgotten. A quirky tidbit is that despite their general condemnation, some missionaries were also among the first Europeans to meticulously document moko patterns in their journals and drawings, unwittingly preserving some records of the very art they sought to eliminate. Historians still argue whether the decline of moko was primarily driven by the active suppression and condemnation from missionaries, or if it was more a complex result of broader societal changes, including disease, warfare, and economic shifts. Regardless, missionary influence cast a long condemnation shadow over Moko, profoundly impacting its trajectory. As you reflect on this period of cultural conflict, you understand the immense pressure Maori faced to abandon a sacred art form deeply woven into their identity. Yet, despite the condemnation, the spirit of Moko proved remarkably resilient, setting the stage for its eventual revival efforts. From the long, heavy shadow of condemnation cast by missionary influence, your journey now shifts to a more hopeful and triumphant chapter in the history of Moko, revival efforts, and the powerful movement of reclaiming heritage. Imagine a generation of Maori realizing the profound cultural loss, actively seeking out the knowledge of their elders, studying ancient photographs, and painstakingly relearning the techniques and meanings of Moko, breathing new life into a nearly extinguished art form. It's like a cultural archaeological dig, but instead of digging for artifacts, they're digging for ancestral knowledge. By the mid-20th century, traditional Moko, particularly facial Moko for men, had largely faded from practice due to the combined pressures of colonization, missionary influence, and the devastating impact of introduced diseases and wars. It became rare to see a young Maori person with full Moko. However, a deep sense of cultural pride and a desire to reclaim lost heritage began to stir within Maori communities. This movement gained momentum from the 1970s onwards, often linked to the broader Maori cultural renaissance. This is a mainstream historical fact. A significant revival of traditional Maori Moko began in the late 20th century, driven by cultural pride and a desire to reclaim heritage. The revival efforts were multifaceted and often challenging. Knowledge of traditional yuhai, chisels, and their application had become scarce, passed down by only a few surviving elders, kaumatua, or preserved in historical records, museum collections, and early European accounts. Artists had to meticulously research these sources, often studying old photographs of ancestors with Moko to understand the intricacies of the designs and the flow of the patterns. They also had to relearn the sacred protocols teapu and the spiritual significance that surrounded Moko application, ensuring that the revived practice was authentic and respectful of ancestral traditions. You can almost feel the dedication and painstaking effort involved, like piecing together a vast, sacred jigsaw puzzle with very few instructions. It's significantly harder than learning to assemble IKEA furniture, and the stakes are much higher. This reclaiming of heritage was not just about the art, it was about reclaiming identity, mana, and spiritual connection. For many Maori, wearing Moko became a powerful statement of cultural affirmation, a visible rejection of colonial suppression, and a celebration of their unique indigeneity. It was a way to honour their ancestors and to connect with their past in a tangible, deeply personal way. The revival saw a particular resurgence of the Moko Kawe, Chin Moko for women, often becoming a prominent symbol of Maori female identity and strength. For men, while full facial Moko also saw a return, the revival has embraced both traditional techniques and modern tattoo guns, finding ways to adapt while maintaining the spiritual and cultural integrity of the art. A quirky tidbit is that early in the revival, some Maori artists had to literally reverse engineer the patterns by studying plaster casts of tattooed faces and preserved mokomokai in museums, painstakingly trying to understand how the three-dimensional grooves were created on living skin. Historians still argue whether the contemporary use of modern tattoo machines for Moko diminishes its traditional spiritual significance, or if it is a necessary and valid evolution that makes the art more accessible to a wider Maori population while preserving its core meanings. Regardless, the revival efforts represent a powerful reclaiming of heritage. As you reflect on this vibrant resurgence, you understand that Moko is not just an ancient art form, but a living, evolving tradition. It is a testament to the resilience of Maori culture and the unwavering determination of a people to honour their past, celebrate their present, and ensure their unique identity thrives for future generations. From the powerful tides of cultural revival, your focus now settles on Moko's ongoing evolution. Modern Moko, and how it serves as an enduring legacy in contemporary Maori society. Imagine traditional designs, centuries old, appearing on faces and bodies that navigate city streets, work in corporate offices, or lead cultural institutions, seamlessly blending ancient heritage with 21st century life. It's like watching an ancient language being spoken fluently by a new generation, proving its timeless relevance. the revival of Moko has not meant a rigid adherence to past practices. Rather, it has fostered a dynamic evolution of the art form. While the spiritual and cultural principles remain sacred, modern Moko embraces new technologies and interpretations, ensuring its continued relevance and accessibility for contemporary Maori. The most significant shift has been the widespread adoption of modern tattooing machines alongside the traditional yuhi, chisels. This allows for faster application, reduces some of the physical trauma, and makes Moko more accessible to a wider range of people who might not be able to endure the full traditional chiseling process. This is a mainstream historical fact. Modern Maori Moko artists often use contemporary tattoo machines, alongside traditional uhai, to apply Moko today. The use of modern tools doesn't diminish the cultural integrity of Moko. For many Maori, the intent and meaning behind the Moko are paramount. A Moko applied with a machine, imbued with the correct wakapapa, genealogy, mana, prestige, and cultural understanding, is still considered a powerful and authentic expression of identity. Artists meticulously study traditional patterns and protocols, ensuring that even with new tools, the essence of Moko remains intact. It's like writing a book with a laptop instead of a quill. The story's still the same, just the tools have changed. Beyond tools, modern Moko also sees an expansion in placement and design interpretation. While facial Moko, especially the Moko Kaui, chin Moko for women, remains highly significant, people now choose to have Moko applied to various parts of their body that might be more easily concealed or revealed depending on context. The designs themselves continue to tell personal narratives, reflecting contemporary life experiences, professional achievements, and individual spiritual journeys, all woven into the traditional visual vocabulary. You can almost feel the quiet pride of someone wearing their heritage visibly, making a statement without uttering a word. This enduring legacy of Moko is a testament to the resilience and adaptability of Maori culture. It demonstrates that cultural practices can evolve without losing their core meaning, finding new ways to thrive in a changing world. Moko today is a powerful symbol of Maori identity, strength, and cultural pride, worn by a diverse range of people who are actively connecting with their heritage and asserting their indigeneity on a global stage. A quirky tidbit that illustrates its modern relevance is the increasing number of Maori professionals, including politicians, academics, and business leaders, who proudly wear their Moko in public and professional settings, challenging outdated colonial perceptions and normalizing Moko as a mark of dignity and respect. Historians still argue whether the contemporary adaptation of Moko, including its commercialization and presence in popular culture, risks diluting its sacred traditional meanings, or if it ensures its survival and broader appreciation. Regardless, modern Moko stands as a vibrant and enduring legacy. As you reflect on Moko's continued journey, you realize that it is more than just an art form from the past. It is a living, breathing testament to a people's unwavering spirit, constantly adapting and finding new ways to tell their stories, including the timeless narratives of love on the most personal and enduring of canvases. From the vibrant evolution of modern Moko, your gaze now settles on the profound and enduring purpose behind many of these intricate designs, intertwined lives, and how they serve as love's permanence etched onto the skin. Imagine a warrior, his face a powerful testament to battles won and mana gained, yet subtly, perhaps imperceptibly to an outsider, a single curve within his Moko mirrors a design on his beloved's chin, a silent, unwavering declaration of their eternal bond. It's like their skin isn't just their own, it's a shared parchment, documenting a love story that defies time. In Maori culture, love, whether romantic, familial, or communal, was a powerful force that shaped identity and society. When two individuals committed to each other, especially in marriage, wainga, it was often seen as a union not just of two people, but of two hakapapa, genealogies, and two mana, spiritual authorities. Moko, as the ultimate visual autobiography, naturally became the canvas for these profound connections. The concept of love's permanence was intrinsically linked to the indelible nature of Moko itself. This is a mainstream historical fact. Maori Moko designs could symbolize marital unions and the blending of family lineages. The ways these intertwined lives were represented were often highly symbolic and deeply personal, reflecting the unique journey of each couple. It wasn't about identical tattoos, but about complementary designs that spoke a shared language. Perhaps a specific spiral motif representing growth or a journey would appear on both partners' moko, but with subtle variations that reflected their individual contributions to the relationship. A motif signifying a specific river or mountain, symbolic of one partner's ancestral lands, might be delicately woven into the other's moko, signifying their new, shared connection to that place through marriage. You wouldn't just stumble upon these connections, they were meticulously planned and understood. It's a level of dedication that makes a his and hers bathrobe look utterly frivolous. Consider the depth of commitment inherent in this practice. To etch a symbol of your partner onto your skin, a mark that would literally stay with you until death, was the ultimate declaration of fidelity and enduring affection. The pain endured during the moko process would only intensify this meaning, making the tattoo a physical manifestation of the emotional trials and unwavering dedication within the relationship. It was a visible promise, a testament to a bond meant to transcend the earthly realm. You can almost feel the weight of such a vow etched not just on the heart, but on the very flesh. A quirky tidbit that highlights the enduring nature of these bonds is the Maori concept of mori, the life force. It was believed that the mori of two people, especially lovers, could become intertwined, and their moko, by reflecting their union, physically manifested this spiritual connection. Historians still argue whether the primary emphasis of such couple-oriented moko was to signify romantic love, or to highlight the broader social and political alliances formed through marriage between Wanao and Hapu. Regardless, the etching of love's permanence through intertwined lives on the skin speaks to a profound and lasting commitment. As you reflect on these deeply personal and powerful declarations, you realise that moko was not just a record of individual achievements, but a testament to the most fundamental human connection: love. It allowed Maori people to literally wear their hearts on their skin, creating a visible, tangible, and eternal legacy of their shared existence. From the tangible etching of love's permanence in intertwined lives, you now journey to a concept that elevates moko's significance even further: the belief that it extended beyond the grave, forging eternal bonds that accompanied the wearer into the afterlife. Imagine the deep spiritual comfort of knowing that the indelible marks on your skin were not just for this earthly existence, but served as a permanent identifier, a spiritual passport, guiding and protecting your spirit in the realm of your ancestors. It's like having a permanent spiritual ID card that gets you VIP access to the afterlife. In Maori spiritual beliefs, death was not an end but a transition, the journey from the physical world, Te Ao Marama, to the spiritual world, Te Hanawa Muri or Rarohenga, where ancestors resided. The spirit, Werua, would embark on this journey, and the moko, deeply imbued with mana and wakapapa genealogy, was believed to play a crucial role in ensuring a smooth and recognised passage. It was thought that the ancestors in the spirit world would recognise their descendants by their moko, welcoming them home. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko was believed to serve as an identifier in the afterlife, allowing ancestors to recognise their descendants. The permanence of moko on the physical body underscored the belief in eternal bonds. A moko was carved for life, and it was understood that it would remain with the individual spirit even after the physical body had returned to the earth. This meant that the stories of identity, achievement, and crucially love, etched onto the skin, were not fleeting. They were destined to endure beyond the grave, serving as a continuous testament to the wearer's life and their connections to their Wanao, family, and Hapu, sub-tribe. You can almost feel the profound comfort this belief would bring, knowing that even in death, your cherished relationships remained visibly acknowledged. It's like having a permanent sacred record of your love life that the spiritual gatekeepers could verify. For those who had commemorated loved ones through their moko, this belief in post-mortem recognition was particularly poignant. A moko that symbolised a marital union, or the joy of children, would continue to speak of those bonds in the spirit world, affirming their enduring nature. It was a powerful affirmation that love, once etched onto the sacred canvas of the self, was truly everlasting. A quirky tidbit is the belief that the spirits of the dead, if they had proper moko, would appear in the spirit world as radiant beings, their moko glowing brightly, a testament to their mana and authenticity. This provided a visual and spiritual confirmation of their identity to their ancestors. Historians still argue whether the primary role of Moko in the afterlife was solely for ancestral recognition, or if it also served a protective function against malevolent spirits during the spiritual journey. Regardless, the belief that Moko extended beyond the grave to forge eternal bonds was a powerful aspect of its significance. As you contemplate the enduring power of Moko even in death, you realize that it transcended mere physical adornment. It was a profound spiritual commitment, a visible covenant with one's past, present, and future, ensuring that identity and love would echo through eternity, a testament to the boundless reach of the human spirit. From the eternal bonds of Moko that reach beyond the grave, your journey now highlights a crucial aspect of its enduring power: cultural pride, and how it became identity's armour for the Maori people. Imagine the generations who, despite immense pressure to abandon their traditions, held fast to the sacred art of Moko, transforming it into a powerful symbol of defiance, resilience, and unwavering self-assertion in the face of colonial forces. It's like their very skin became a living flag, proudly proclaiming who they were against all odds. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, as we've discussed, Maori culture faced immense challenges: land confiscations, the imposition of European laws, the devastating impact of introduced diseases, and the active suppression of traditional practices by missionaries and colonial authorities led to a period of profound cultural erosion. Moko, once ubiquitous, saw a significant decline. Yet, amidst this adversity, a deep-seated sense of cultural pride never truly died. For many Maori, holding on to their Moko, or the knowledge of it, became an act of profound resistance. This is a mainstream historical fact. Despite colonial pressures and missionary condemnation, a strong sense of cultural pride persisted among Maori, contributing to the eventual revival of Moko. This enduring pride manifested in various ways. For those elders who continued to wear their Moko, particularly the Moko Kawai, chin Moko, for women, and the rare full facial Moko for men, they became living symbols of resilience, repositories of ancestral knowledge, and powerful reminders of a heritage that refused to be extinguished. Their very presence was a quiet yet potent defiance against the forces that sought to erase their identity. You can almost feel the weight of their wisdom, radiating from the etched lines on their faces, a silent rebuke to centuries of suppression. It's like they were wearing a permanent, beautiful protest sign. As the 20th century progressed, and particularly with the rise of Maori cultural renaissance movements from the 1970s onwards, Moko became a powerful symbol of identity's armour. Reclaiming and wearing Moko became an act of self-determination, a visible statement of Maori nationhood and their enduring connection to their Wakapapa genealogy, Meni, spiritual authority, and Tikanga, customs. It was a way for individuals to assert their indigenous identity in a world that had long tried to assimilate them. For many contemporary Maori, getting Moko is a deeply personal yet profoundly political act. It's a way to heal historical trauma, to connect with ancestors, and to proudly showcase their heritage to the world. It signals a deep respect for their traditions and an unwavering commitment to the future of their culture. This armour isn't about physical protection in battle anymore, it's about spiritual and cultural strength in the face of ongoing challenges. A quirky tidbit that demonstrates this pride is the increasing phenomenon of Maori individuals choosing to receive Moko in public spaces or at significant cultural events, transforming the act of tattooing into a communal celebration of identity and resilience. Historians still argue whether the contemporary resurgence of Moko is primarily driven by a spiritual reconnection to Tikanga, or if it also serves as a powerful political statement against the legacies of colonialism. Regardless, Moko undeniably represents cultural pride as identity's armour. As you contemplate the power held within these etched designs, you understand that Moko is more than an art form. It is a living testament to a people's unwavering spirit, their profound pride in who they are, and their enduring determination to wear their identity proudly for all the world to see. Building upon the formidable strength of Moko as identity's armour, your journey now arrives at a very personal and contemporary facet: personal choice, and how Moko functions as a modern expression. Imagine an individual today deliberately choosing to embark on the journey of receiving Moko, not out of societal obligation or tribal mandate, but from a deep, personal desire to connect with their heritage, in a world that offers countless other forms of self-expression. It's like deciding to write your own unique chapter in a very old, very sacred book. In the past, moko was often a rite of passage, a necessary step in a person's life dictated by their wakapapa, genealogy, and their position within the community. While these profound cultural roots remain, the resurgence of moko in the modern era means that receiving it is increasingly a conscious personal choice. Individuals today embark on this journey from a place of deep reflection, a desire to honour their ancestors, reclaim their identity, and express their Maori heritage in a powerful and visible way. This is a mainstream historical fact. In contemporary Maori society, receiving moko is often a deeply personal and deliberate choice made by individuals seeking to connect with their cultural identity. This modern expression allows for a unique blend of tradition and individuality. While the core designs and their fundamental meanings are rooted in ancestral patterns and tikanga, customs, contemporary tohunga to moko artists work closely with recipients to ensure the moko reflects their unique life story, their personal achievements, their spiritual journey, and their place in the modern world. It's no longer solely about showing a warrior's prowess. It might be about celebrating a degree earned, a successful career, overcoming personal challenges, or a deep love for one's family in a contemporary context. You can almost feel the weight of personal conviction and deliberate intention that goes into each decision, a profound act of self-definition in a rapidly changing world. It's like curating your own personal museum exhibit on your skin, showcasing your life's narrative. For many, wearing moko today is a powerful affirmation of their Maori identity in spaces where it was once suppressed or unseen. It's a statement of pride in their heritage, a visible connection to their ancestors, and a commitment to carrying forward their culture for future generations. It allows individuals to navigate the complexities of modern life while remaining firmly rooted in their ancestral traditions. A quirky tidbit is the phenomenon of Maori individuals living abroad choosing to receive moko as a way to maintain a strong connection to their homeland and heritage, demonstrating its power as a portable symbol of identity. Historians still argue whether the increasing popularity of moko, sometimes adopted by non-Maori as a fashion statement, risks cultural appropriation, or if it broadens awareness and appreciation for the art form. Regardless, moko as a personal choice stands as a powerful modern expression of Maori identity. As you reflect on the personal journeys embodied in modern moko, you understand that this sacred art form is not merely a relic of the past. It is a vibrant, living expression of a people's ongoing self-determination, a testament to the enduring power of cultural connection, and a beautiful way for individuals to wear their unique story, including their deepest affections for all time. From the deeply personal choices of modern moko, your journey now transcends cultural boundaries to touch upon a fundamental human experience, universal love, and how moko embodies this human connection in its most profound sense. Imagine looking at a moko-adorned face and, regardless of your own background, feeling a resonance with the stories of life, loss, identity, and especially the deep affections etched within its lines. It's like discovering that, even though the language is different, the emotions are universally understood. While moko is unequivocally and uniquely Maori, its power to communicate the human condition, particularly the profound nature of love and connection, resonates across cultures. The themes woven into moko, lineage, belonging, achievement, grief and partnership, are not exclusive to Maori society. They are fundamental aspects of human existence, experiences that bind us all, regardless of our geographical location or historical context. The intricate patterns, therefore, speak a language that the heart can understand, even if the mind doesn't grasp every specific cultural nuance. This is a mainstream historical fact. Themes of identity, love and belonging, as represented in moko, are universal human experiences. Consider the act of marking the skin permanently to commemorate a cherished relationship. Whether it's a modern couple getting matching tattoos, a parent inscribing their child's name, or a Maori warrior subtly weaving a partner's spirit into their moko, the underlying impulse is the same: to make love tangible, visible, and enduring. Moko, with its unique blend of artistry and spiritual depth, simply takes this universal human desire to its most sophisticated and sacred expression. You can almost feel the echoes of shared human experience, vibrating across centuries and continents, a testament to the enduring power of connection. It's like a global emoji for eternal love, but way more epic and with actual historical roots. The beauty of Moko, its profound connection to identity, and the palpable mana it exudes, draw admiration from people worldwide. This admiration often stems from a recognition of the universal human need for belonging, for stories, and for ways to visually declare what is most important to us. When you witness the pride with which Maori individuals wear their Moko today, you see a powerful manifestation of self-love, cultural love, and the love for those who came before them and those who will come after. A quirky tidbit that highlights this universal appeal is the respectful fascination that non-Maori tattoo artists and enthusiasts around the world often have for Moko, recognizing its unparalleled artistry and depth of meaning, leading to a broader appreciation for indigenous art forms globally, though strict protocols regarding cultural appropriation are increasingly emphasized. Historians still argue whether the concept of universal love can be truly applied to specific cultural expressions like Moko, or if it risks oversimplifying the unique cultural context and specific meanings. Regardless, Moko clearly stands as a powerful testament to universal love and human connection. As you contemplate the far-reaching resonance of Moko, you realize that while its roots are deeply embedded in Maori soil, its branches extend to touch the shared human experience. It's a powerful reminder that across time and cultures, the desire to celebrate, to remember, and to permanently express our deepest affections is a fundamental impulse, making Moko a truly timeless and powerful art form. Having journeyed through Moko's universal echoes of human connection, your final reflection brings you back to its essence, the skin's whisper, and the power of these timeless narratives etched forever onto the human form. Imagine a person with Moko and realize their skin isn't just an organ. It's a living archive, a sacred book, constantly telling stories that began centuries ago and continue to evolve with every heartbeat. It's like their very being is a testament to history, art, and the enduring human spirit. Moko is far more than an ancient tradition or a beautiful art form. It is a profound system of communication, a testament to identity, and a living chronicle. Every swirl, every line, every deeply carved groove carries a whisper of the past, of ancestors, tupuna, of tribal lands, wenua, of battles fought, and of the sacred bond of wakapapa, genealogy. But it also whispers of the present, of achievements earned, challenges overcome, and the vibrant life of the individual wearing it. And within these layers of personal and collective history, we found the subtle yet powerful declarations of love, for partners, for children, for family, and for the entire whānau. This is a mainstream historical fact. Moko embodies a complex system of visual communication, conveying layers of personal and cultural information. These timeless narratives etched on the skin are a permanent reminder that love is a fundamental thread woven into the tapestry of human existence. It's not always grand declarations. Sometimes it's a quiet, complementary pattern, a shared symbol, or a subtle motif that only a few understand, yet its presence is undeniable. The Maori, through Moko, understood the power of making the invisible visible, of giving permanence to the transient, and of rooting profound emotion in the very flesh. You can almost feel the stories humming just beneath the surface, waiting to be read by those with the knowledge and the heart to listen. It's more effective than a giant "I love you" banner, and it won't get shredded in the wind. The enduring appeal of Moko, its survival through periods of intense suppression, and its vibrant resurgence today speak volumes about its profound importance to the Maori people. It is identity's armour, a badge of cultural pride and a testament to their unwavering spirit. It represents a living connection to a rich past, a powerful assertion in the present, and a hopeful promise for the future. A quirky tidbit that beautifully encapsulates this timelessness is the Maori proverb, "Ko te kanohi pohoro te mana o te tangata." The tattooed face is the prestige of the person. This simple phrase, passed down through generations, continues to resonate today, reminding us of the enduring power and meaning of Moko. Historians still argue whether the profound spiritual significance of Moko is fully understood and honoured by contemporary wearers who utilise modern methods, or if a complete understanding requires adherence to all traditional practices. Regardless, the skin's whisper continues to tell timeless narratives. As you drift now, away from the flickering firelight of ancient Aotearoa, let the images of these living canvases, these stories etched in skin, gently fade. Remember the deep connections, the courage, the love, and the unbreakable spirit that Moko represents. It's a testament to how profoundly human beings strive to mark their existence, to declare their identity, and to eternally etch their deepest affections. The stories are now complete, and the whispers of the uhi fade into the quiet of the night. Your mind, I hope, feels a little fuller, perhaps even a touch lighter, having journeyed so far into the heart of a culture where skin became a canvas for the soul. The ancient Moko, with its spiralling narratives of identity, bravery, and especially love, has been revealed to you, etched not just on the Maori warrior's face, but perhaps now gently impressed upon your own understanding. As the last echoes of the ancestral chants soften, let your thoughts settle, like mist over the mountains of Aotearoa. There's a quiet knowing now, isn't there? A sense that even in the deepest sleep the stories of enduring love, permanently marked on the skin, continue their timeless journey.